Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Quinterverse. My name is Quinn, and with all the Galaxy hype that's going on right now, the rumor of the next 3D Mario game also grows as well, because today, we will be discussing if Super Mario Galaxy 3 will be the next 3D Mario game. Now, I talked about this a little during my Super Mario Bros. 40th Anniversary Nintendo Direct review, but towards the end of that video, I talked a little bit about the possibility of us getting Super Mario Galaxy 3. And the reason why I talked about that is with all the Galaxy reveals that we got during that celebration. I mean, think about it. We got the reveal of Super Mario Galaxy, the movie, coming out. We got the reveal of Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 being remastered for the Nintendo Switch. We got the reveal of new Galaxy Amiibos with Mario and Princess Rosalina. We even got Princess Rosalina's storybook being released as a solo product and extended pages being in the remastered versions. So we got a lot of Galaxy news, and I'm thinking that's not a coincidence. This is not Nintendo just solely trying to cash in on the past hype with Galaxy. This is Nintendo probably planning something big. People may think this is a crazy speculation, but listen, Nintendo fans have been asking this question for years. Will we ever get a Super Mario Galaxy 3? And with Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 not out for the Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, along with the other Galaxy news trending, some are wondering if the Galaxy series will continue in the 3D Mario series. And today, we're going to break that down. But before that, I encourage each and every one of you to hit that like button. Greatly helps out the channel. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. Turn on the bell for notifications so you guys will know either when I'm uploading or streaming. Follow me on social media, that's Twitter, aka X, and Instagram, for all kinds of updates, like when a video will be uploaded, when I'm going to be going live, my reactions to some stuff gaming related and non-gaming related, and so much more. Alright guys, let's get into speculation right now. Woo! Now, before we talk more about the possibility of Super Mario Galaxy 3 being released in the future, I want to take a second to talk about the legacy that Super Mario Galaxy presented as a whole, you know? So, when Super Mario Galaxy first launched on the Wii back in 2007, it completely redefined what a 3D Mario game could be. Nintendo took a huge leap from the success of Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine and instead built an entire game around the concept of space, gave us so many galaxies to explore, presented our own new gravity-based gameplay which some people either like or dislike, but overall it gave us a cosmic adventure that we've never seen before. You know, one of the reasons why I love game design and game development is because of games like Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. The level design of Super Mario Galaxy is so unique that it forces you to think about platforming in a completely different way. Mario is seen running in all different directions on planets, launching through space using the star launcher, and you gotta time your jump carefully with the new gravity mechanic that they have, and it just all feels so special. It just feels great to try out. You know, the new mechanic actually worked, and it gave people a all new gameplay when it comes to Mario games. And then there's the music. Let me tell you guys something. Super Mario Galaxy gave us one of the most iconic soundtracks in Nintendo history, with a full orchestra score that elevated every single level when you select every single star, every single galaxy. You guys get the point. Like, take Gusty Garden Galaxy as an example. We still hear that music and think of Mario Galaxy as a whole, and that's like the #1 music that people still think about to this day. For those of you who watched the Super Mario Bros. Movie, if you guys actually paid attention to the end credits, the Gusty Garden Galaxy was one of the songs being played during the end credits, which told me that we might be getting a Galaxy movie in the future. That was like one of the first hints that we might be getting a Galaxy movie, and look, we got a Galaxy movie coming out very soon. This is literally why overall, Super Mario Galaxy, to me, is one of the best 3D Mario games in the series. Nintendo didn't stop there, however. They followed that hype up with Super Mario Galaxy 2. And I want to give you guys a fun fact about that game as well. Super Mario Galaxy 2 wasn't even planned to be a sequel in the first place. After finishing the first game, Miyamoto and the development team still had a lot of different creative ideas that they wanted to give when it comes to Super Mario Galaxy. So many, in fact, that they started working on what was supposed to be sort of like, I guess, an extension. You know, like Super Mario Galaxy 1.5 or something like that, you know? But the ideas kept coming, the project kept growing as a whole, and with new mechanics like Yoshi and fresh new galaxies and new power-ups, it just became a full sequel. And Galaxy 2 ended up not just continuing that formula, but it surpassed it in many of the eyes of fans. And many fans still argue that Galaxy 2 is the peak of 3D Mario. Personally, I actually prefer Galaxy 1 over 2. Don't get me wrong here. Galaxy 2 is incredible, but Galaxy 1 just did such a great job introducing the concept of Mario exploring space. It felt fresh, it felt special, it felt emotional. The background story of Princess Rosalina was told like a fairy tale through her storybook. It gave the game this like deeper, almost like you could say almost magical layer that we rarely see in Mario games. Galaxy 2, by comparison, just felt like Nintendo wanted to cut straight into the action. Bowser kidnaps Peach. Mario goes on the rescue. It's a classic Mario setup. And it worked, but it didn't have the same narrative charm or emotional weight that Galaxy 1 carried. That's why for me, Super Mario Galaxy 1 still stands out as a more memorable and special experience. Now you can argue that Mario 1 also follows that same dynamic. Mario has to go rescue Peach after Bowser just kidnapped her. But there was just so much more to the story. There was just so much more that you can just kind of grasp. It wasn't just about Mario saving Peach. It was also Mario just learning more about space, learning more about the Lumas, learning more about Princess Rosalina herself. It just had that great magical touch that I think we can all agree that Mario is not really known for. Mario is not really known for some of its story. Is usually known for its gimmicks, its mechanics, and I, for one, am in love with just Mario Galaxy 1's story as a whole. You know, it wasn't that much story. It wasn't like a very, very, very deep story, but it was something that Nintendo presented to us right here and there, you know? But no matter what game you prefer, both games are remembered as masterpieces. Critics praised them, fans adored them, and together they redefined what 3D Mario as a game and a series could be. And even today, with the remastered versions now being released onto the Nintendo Switch and the Switch 2, it brings them back into the spotlight. And the Galaxy games feel just as special as they did on the Wii. So it's no surprise that to this day, fans keep asking the same question: if Galaxy was so beloved, and if it still holds up today, why haven't we got Super Mario Galaxy 3? And maybe more importantly, what would a Galaxy 3 even look like in the modern era of Mario, since we got the releases of Super Mario 3D World, Bowser's Fury, Super Mario Odyssey? What would it even look like today? We're going to get into that right now here. Okay, so now we're going to be getting into why fans as a whole are hoping for Super Mario Galaxy 3 and why some are not. Because believe it or not, there are people out there who question whether either we should or just we shouldn't get Galaxy 3, you know? There are some people who think we should. There are some people who don't believe it's actually going to happen. There's some people who think that it's a bad idea and maybe they should move on to a better idea, maybe a newer idea. You know, we're going to actually get into this, and we're going to start with why fans want this. Why fans want the release of Super Mario Galaxy 3, you know? First, there's the sense of unfinished potential, if you know what I mean. You know, even with 2 Galaxy games, the concept still feels limitless. The idea of galaxies to explore, power-ups to explore as well, you know, could easily be evolved with fresh ideas, especially with the new Nintendo Switch that we have. The new Nintendo Switch 2, I be mind you, because we have better hardware than the original Nintendo Wii, you know? And some fans could even argue, like, Super Mario Galaxy 2 was the game for unfinished potential, you know what I mean? Because after all, the game was made for leftover ideas. The game was made because the developers want to explore different ideas and maybe just different possibilities. So maybe they exhausted all their ideas on that game altogether. But with more ideas and more 3D Mario games that we have now, you know, we have Super Mario 3D World, Bowser's Fury. You know, Bowser's Fury has an open world mechanic. We have, let's say, we have Super Mario Odyssey, which Odyssey explored so many different ideas. Now, it wasn't a Galaxy game, but they still explored a lot of ideas as a whole. I don't mind. I actually think, that Nintendo does have more ideas hidden that they want to explore. You know, even with the Super Mario Galaxy movie, they're not just going to throw 1,000 references in your face. They might. They probably will. But they're also probably going to explore new ideas that wasn't explored in the Galaxy games. It's a possibility, you know? Which I'm all for. I'm completely all for. Then there's the story element. Super Mario Galaxy gave us one of the most heartfelt stories in Mario history, and you can tell that with Rosalina's backstory. Now, Nintendo is even releasing as a solo product and is expanding on that in the remastered version. So you can tell that they're gonna want to expand more on Rosalina's story. They actually might expand on Rosalina's story in the movie. So I imagine fans want to see more of her lore expanded upon in a third entry, you know? And not only her lore, but you can also expand on the lore of space and Galaxy as a whole, you know? Super Mario Galaxy 1 just did such a great job introducing Mario to space. And Super Mario Galaxy 2 continued that, you know, by introducing us to more characters. And I imagine with a third entry, you can return some of that magic back. You can return some story back. Maybe meet up with characters that was introduced in Galaxy 1 and 2. Maybe you can introduce some characters. Maybe you actually can tell a different story than Bowser kidnapping Peach and building his Galaxy Empire. Maybe he will build his Galaxy Empire, but in a different way, with a different motive, you know? There's so much to expand upon, and I actually want to see that story element just explored, you know what I mean? And of course, we can't forget the music and the atmosphere, you know what I mean? See, Super Mario Galaxy set the bar high with their orchestra soundtracks, you know what I mean? And their whole cosmic visuals. Imagine how great Galaxy 3 could be and sound on the Switch, you know? With better hardware, with better possibilities on the Switch 2. We can explore different galaxies, maybe find a way to introduce an open world mechanic there, which I don't know what you could do there, but it'd be fun to actually think about. You know, it would just be amazing, you know? And imagine the music. Imagine the remastered music, like Gusty Garden Galaxy, that they can do. I would love to seek out that possibility right there. That right there is something I actually want to see for myself, especially with the music that they can actually do. And finally, for fans, Galaxy is Mario at his best. For many fans, Galaxy is basically Mario's peak. And I feel like Galaxy 3 would definitely be Nintendo acknowledging that cosmic era as one of the franchise highlights. They already did acknowledge it if you think about it with the release of Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 for the Nintendo Switch. But just imagine what they could do if they actually expand on that. Imagine what they could do if they expand on that, you know? Take this as an example. When Sonic the Hedgehog 3 with Shadow and Dr. Gerald Robotnik was released, you know, there was so much Shadow hype, you know, and that was around the time we actually got the release of Sonic X Shadow Generation. There was so much Shadow the Hedgehog hype that it literally, people were talking about it for months. And I could see the same thing happening to Galaxy. We have so much Galaxy news and so much Galaxy products coming out that it was almost as if the whole 40th anniversary was centered around that. So I can actually see Galaxy being expanded on and Nintendo actually wanting to explore more of that as well. You know, that's why I feel like some fans are going to want this game back, because Nintendo, I feel like, would operate on that next level era, you know, operate on the advantages that the Switch 2 brings. And that's something I would love to see. Now, I also wanted to talk about the other side of the conversation of why fans may not want Super Mario Galaxy 3, you know. Now, on the flip side, some players feel like Galaxy should remain as two great games, you know what I mean? Nintendo has a tradition of reinventing each Mario 3D game every time a new generation hits. Like, for example, you have Super Mario 64. Then after that, you have Super Mario Sunshine. Then after that, you have Galaxy. And it was rare that Galaxy actually got a sequel, you know? And then came Super Mario 3D Land. And people can argue that the game after that, Super Mario 3D World, is the sequel of Super Mario 3D Land, which I believe it is. So you can argue that Nintendo did that again. But then we got games like Odyssey. And Odyssey didn't get a sequel too. For all we know, the 3D Mario game that we might get is Odyssey 2. Which I wouldn't be opposed, because Odyssey was such a fantastic game. And I would play that game all over again, which I honestly might. Some fans argue that Nintendo is at its best when it's pushing into new ideas as a whole, you know, not sequels. So I can understand that to an extent, you know. I can definitely understand that. Another point is that some fans worry that it's playing it too safe, you know. they might feel like Galaxy 3 might be just more of a nostalgic play since it's such a memorable game, you know? Which people can argue that the remastered versions that they just released are also a nostalgic play, and releasing Galaxy 3 might be just more playing on our nostalgia instead of just taking a big, bold step forward and trying out something new. And it could disappoint fans as a whole, so people like new ideas, and Nintendo is definitely at its best when they're thinking of new ideas, you know, which I can understand. I can definitely understand that, you know. We have Sunshine with the new mechanic of Flood. We have Galaxy with the Lumas, you know. We have Cappy with Super Mario Odyssey, and people want to see that trend going, and which I completely understand, you know. And there definitely is a lot of potential in new ideas as well, and I'm not going to deny that. But I'm also acknowledging that there's new potential in Galaxy sequel as well. But some fans don't agree to that, and I completely understand that, you know? So I'm going to make one more point on this, and I've heard other fans and other YouTubers talk about this. Competition exists now. Think of it like this. We have games like Astrobot that was released not too long ago, and Astrobot basically stepped into that cosmic 3D platformer territory and basically showed all of us how a space adventure is made, you know? There are some fans that even believe that, in a way, Astrobot is sort of a spiritual successor to games like Mario Galaxy, which I can't blame them, you know? Now, Astrobot wasn't made by Nintendo, of course, but it basically explored a lot of Mario Galaxy elements. You can even see in the game that they borrowed or basically did their own version of Mario Galaxy mechanics in that game as well. Which I actually really liked. I actually really geeked over, you know. But I am also acknowledging, I also am trying to acknowledge also that this is also a way for Mario to probably carve up a new direction instead of just chasing Galaxy again, you know. For those of you who haven't played Astrobot, I definitely encourage you guys to play it because it is a great game, you know. I don't know how many Nintendo fans played it because I played it because I like playing games from all different consoles, you know what I mean? Whether it's the Nintendo, PlayStation, or Xbox, or PC, doesn't matter. I like playing games from all different consoles. There are some Nintendo fans that aren't like that. Some Nintendo fans play only Nintendo consoles, which is pretty fine. It's pretty good. It's alright, you know? But I definitely encourage Nintendo fans or people who love space adventures to go try Astrobot because it's that good of a game, you know? So I don't blame people for wanting Mario to move into a different direction because they feel like they've gotten their fill of Galaxy already, you know? Especially with Astrobot being out, with the remasters being out, they feel like maybe they explored enough of Galaxy and maybe they want to try something different. So while the hype of Galaxy 3 is real, and trust me, I would love to see it happen myself, there's also a valid argument that maybe Nintendo should move away a little bit from Galaxy and just continue to surprise us with something new. But it's definitely a back and forth argument, you know what I mean? So here's my final stance. The Galaxy games will always hold a special place in not only my heart, but Mario's history. And for me, Galaxy 1 will always be the standout because it captured the magic of Mario in space. It captured Rosalina's story greatly, and I'm glad they're expanding on that as well. You know, the atmosphere felt bigger than we ever seen before, and Galaxy 2 continued that near perfect gameplay, you know. But now with the Switch 2 released, you know, Nintendo has a chance to either bring Galaxy back for a third edition, continue the Odyssey formula, or maybe blow away us with something completely new. You know what I mean? And honestly, no matter what direction they choose, Mario fans are in for something huge. But what do you guys think? Do you want Nintendo to make a Super Mario Galaxy 3? Or would you rather see maybe different game, maybe a different sequel, maybe a Super Mario Sunshine 2, maybe a Super Mario Odyssey 2? Or do you think Nintendo should go with something completely brand new? You know what I mean? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And I would love to hear what you guys stand on this one. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Greatly helps out our channel. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Turn on the bell for all notifications so you guys will know either when I'm uploading or streaming. Follow me on social media. That's Twitter, aka X, and Instagram for all kinds of updates on what videos will be uploaded, on when I'll be live, and so much more. Woo! Woo! I did a lot of commenting. So I did a lot of commentary. I did a lot of commentary right here, so I'm going to close out. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see all of you guys in the next video. I'll see you guys. God bless, and have a great rest of your day.